It's episode 8, the merge episode of Survivor China, and last time, Feng had a clear majority against Alec, Betty, and Steph. With Alec and Betty's failed attempts to get the numbers on their side, their tribe still won immunity, sending Shu to their second tribal council. As Shelby analyzed David and his pimple poppers, she knew she had to make a move and take Daniela and her kingdom down. As a result, Julian, Garth, and Shelby came together, and they only needed Roland and Maria to join them. However, with Maria struggling to make the move happen, Roland was hesitant as well, so they preferred to keep the vote onto Julian. With Daniela catching on that a flip was in the works, she made her move at tribal council by putting the target on Shelby's back. However, Shelby outplayed her by convincing Maria before tribal council that David might be the smarter choice to vote out. As a result, the tribe was split in two, and David was sent out in a blindside due to Maria's flipped vote. Now that the merge is up next, how will the dynamics flow? Stay tuned and watch until the end. It's night 16, and Shu arrives to camp after the David blindside. In confessional, Daniela says she's very pissed that David went home. Someone flipped and did not vote for Shelby, and it obviously leaves Maria and Roland. She needs to find out what went wrong and why the four did not stick together. Daniela then invites Roland and Maria to the side of camp, and she asks them who flipped. In confessional, Maria says she could tell Daniela was extremely upset at the flipped vote. She just lost her close ally in David after all. Of course, the move wasn't made by Roland. It was made by herself. She decided to cut David so she can get closer to Daniela. It was purely a strategic move, but if Daniela finds this out, their relationship is done. Maria then tells Daniela that she voted for Shelby as planned, so Daniela looks at Roland and awaits a response from him. He says the same, so Daniela points out that one of them are lying. Maria and Roland remain quiet, and Daniela sighs and says she's really desperate to find out who flipped their vote. She just wants to understand the reason behind it. Once again, both Maria and Roland remain quiet. Daniela also goes quiet, and the three just stand around in silence. It's day 17, and both tribes arrive to the mats where they see Justin next to a bowl. Justin then confirms that Shu voted out David at the last tribal council, and Adam and Hannah immediately tense up. Justin then says that if it wasn't clear by the bowl, it's time for the game to switch up. They are halfway through the season, meaning it's time to merge the two tribes. Everyone celebrates, many hugging each other for reaching this milestone. Justin then clarifies that while the merge has begun, jury hasn't started yet. Their new merge color will be blue. As for the name of the tribe, that will be up to them. They must let him know of an agreed-upon name at the next challenge, that being the immunity challenge on day 19. With that, Justin hands them all a map to their new camp, and he lets them know to grab a new buff before they head out. With that, everyone goes for a buff, and in confessional, Shelby calls this a huge moment for her game. She floated in the first half so she wouldn't stand out, and that worked great for her. Here she is now, probably one of the most iconic and smarter players in the game. She's ready to run this merge. In another confessional, Alex says he's pretty relieved the tribes merged because things weren't looking hot for him on his previous tribe. With the merge comes new opportunities and relationships. He's hopeful he can get back into a majority now that there are 12 other players he's on a tribe with. At the new merge camp, everyone stands around a note, so Maria decides to read it for everyone. The 13 of them will not start off the merge easy. They must build their own shelter. All they will get is a campfire with no lit fire or flint. Everyone is surprised to hear this, and in confessional, Betty sighs and says she did not want to start this merge off with no shelter or flint. It's just going to make things 10 times more difficult. The strategy behind this game is hard enough. Everyone then spreads out to get some materials for their shelter and fire, and some people find a decent-sized body of water. Roland says he reckons he could catch some fish here, and Julian reminds him they can't do anything with them right now if they don't have a fire. In confessional, Julian says he's good at reading people in the game. Roland is your typical, less strategic guy who focuses a lot on the survival aspect than the gameplay. He's never met Hannah before, but she seems like an aggressive gamer. Then there's Adam, who definitely gives off wannabe alpha energy, but in actuality he's a beta boy. He doesn't have interest in working with any of these people, so he would much rather reunite with some of his ex-snakes. Julian and Jeannie reunite alone, and Jeannie says she could literally cry right now. Julian smiles and says he's so happy to see her again. He was worried they wouldn't live until merge. Jeannie then asks about his situation from the swap, and Julian says he was on the outs until the recent vote. He feels good about Shelby, so maybe they can link up with her. Jeannie then says she feels reasonably solid with Hannah and Adam. In confessional, Jeannie notes how Julian will always be her #1 ally in the game. After that, it's a mix of Steph, Adam, and Hannah. She doesn't see herself moving forward with Alec and Betty. She already burned that bridge with them. Jeannie then tells Julian she is open to meet Shelby and potentially form an alliance with her, and Julian says he's excited to meet her. She's a badass pageant mother who doesn't let anyone manipulate her. Meanwhile, Maria and Daniela chat alone, and in confessional, Maria says she needs to keep her relationship alive with Daniela. She can't make her feel uncomfortable around her. That's someone who she needs in order to get far in this merge. Daniela asks Maria if she knows what happened yesterday night, and Maria tells her Roland flipped. She just didn't feel comfortable saying that in front of him during their chat because they obviously have a strong personal connection. Daniela sighs and admits she feels broken without David now. He was strong within their trio. Maria says she feels the same way, but now they have to figure out what they will do moving forward. She thinks they can stick with Roland and reunite with Adam and Hannah, but if new opportunities arise for them, they can switch up their loyalty. In confessional, Daniela admits she has lost a decent chunk of trust with Maria. There's no way Maria would want to work with Roland again after losing David, unless she was okay with Roland flipping his vote. Perhaps Maria saw David as a liability to her game, but if anything, him getting voted out just worsened her game. As the day goes on, everyone works on building their shelter, and nearby, Daniela finds an arrow on a tree pointing down. In confessional, Daniela says she's always keeping her eyes open for any possible hidden immunity idols in the wild, and she noticed a strange sign that looked out of place. Why is there a sign on a tree? It only means one thing. There's something in the ground by this tree. The only problem is that it's next to the campsite, so if she digs here, people will notice. Daniela then takes down the sign and throws it in a bush nearby. She whispers to herself that she'll just have to dig down another time. Alec meanwhile chats with Steph, Garth, and Rachel, asking them if they are down to just be a strong alliance of snakes. There are 7 of them, so mathematically they have the votes to do what they want. Garth says he's down to continue how things left off pre-swap, and he knows Julian would be down to do this again. In confessional, Rachel says it's evident the snakes want to reunite, but he's personally not up for that. He lost 2 of his closest allies in the game, and now these people expect him to work with them again. He already built new connections with the other side, so he'd much rather work with them in this merge. Rachel later finds Adam, Hannah, Roland, and Maria together, and he asks if he can join in. Hannah says sure, so Rachel informs them that Alec, Steph, and Garth are trying to get the original snakes together to vote out the Phoenix players one after the other. Adam shrugs and says they can fight back in that case and vote out the snakes. In confessional, Adam says he feels really good about his position right now. He has a bunch of the ex-Phoenix tribe on his side, and he also has a few snakes, those being Rachel and Jeannie. It's evident that Alec and Betty are running the other side and they want to stay strong with their ex-tribe, so now the Phoenix tribe has to stay strong more than ever and take those snakes down. It's now night 17, and everyone is asleep in the newly built shelter. Daniela gets up and moves towards the tree she found earlier with an arrow on it. She then starts to dig into the ground under it, and in confessional, Daniela says she needs to find out what's hidden under the tree, so she dug in the middle of the night while everyone else was asleep. She didn't know how far to dig. Heck, she even questioned whether anything was under the tree or not. Perhaps the arrow means something else. As Daniela continues to dig, Jeannie suddenly shows up and asks Daniela what she's doing. Daniela stops digging and she nervously stutters as she tells Jeannie she thinks she knows where the merge idol is. Jeannie then comes closer, and Daniela tells her to help dig it out of the tree. The two then dig together, and in confessional, Jeannie says she was literally going out for a pee break in the middle of the night, and she thought she could hear dirt moving around nearby. Then, she found Daniela doing the sneakiest shit ever. Caught red-handed. Daniela and Jeannie eventually dig far enough to where Daniela can snag the buried item, and Jeannie does a silent clap for her. Daniela opens the package and tells Jeannie she found the merge idol. Jeannie congratulates her, and in confessional, Daniela sighs because she did not want this random snake girl to find her with this idol. She wanted this idol all to herself, but of course she can't always get what she wants. At least she has an item of safety on her now. It's day 18, and Rachel and Alec work relentlessly on starting a fire for the tribe. Hannah then asks them if there's any luck with the fire, but Alec says it's really difficult because of the wind. In confessional, Steph says that the merge tribe hasn't gotten a fire started yet because it has been windy the last few days and they don't even have flint to make the process easier. It's worrying everyone because they don't have a proper source of food. She could eat bugs at this point to fill her hunger needs. Alec then says he can't do this anymore because his hands are busted up. Roland then decides to take over and work on the fire with Rachel. As Alec walks away from camp, Shelby catches up to him from behind and they both stop to chat. Shelby then tells Alec she wants a quick chat because she heard of an alliance opportunity with him and some of the other snakes. Alec says he actually heard she was on the bottom of her ex-tribe, so perhaps this is a perfect chance for them to link up. In confessional, Shelby says she wants to align herself with the snakes in this merge because she basically broke her trust with her ex-tribe. She's not going to work with Daniela, Adam, or Hannah. They all wanted her gone at some point. So now, Alec might be her new ride or die. Shelby then tells Alec that she sees him as her knight in shining armor out here. He seems like a very loyal player. Alec smiles and says he would love to take the role of a knight out here. He deeply cares for his allies and protects them at all costs. Shelby laughs and says that's exactly what she needs out here. Alec then tells her they can continue chatting in that case. After the challenge tomorrow, they can hold a meeting with some other people to discuss the vote. Shelby nods and says this sounds great to her. Jeannie meanwhile chats with Julian, letting him know she saw Daniela digging for an idol last night near camp. Julian's eyes bug out, and Jeannie says she's being dead-ass. Julian asks if she eventually got it, and Jeannie says she literally had to help the girl dig the idol out. She still isn't even sure how she found out about it being there. Perhaps she should have asked. Julian then tells Jeannie that Daniela cannot be trusted out here. She has been such a leader figure for the Phoenixes and she doesn't fuck around. He knows his head is on the chopping block for her because she has wanted him out for days now. In confessional, Julian says he needs Jeannie to realize that the Phoenixes are not her friends. She wants to believe she can trust Adam and Hannah, but they are loyal to the other Phoenixes. Himself and Jeannie need to lock in and work with Alec, Steph, Garth, and Betty. They also have Shelby now, making that a majority of 7 people who can vote together tomorrow night. Jeannie then tells Julian she's still undecided on what to do, and Julian tells her he's a bit worried that she'll make the wrong choice. Jeannie sighs and tells Julian she finds it really annoying when he tells her what to do and not to do, so Julian apologizes and tells her she can do her own thing. She then tells him she can feel the sarcasm leaking out of him, and Julian says he's just gonna end the conversation here so they don't start arguing. In confessional, Jeannie says she's her own person when it comes to the game. She doesn't need someone else dictating what's best for her. She sees herself moving forward with Adam and Hannah, and unfortunately, the swap has divided herself and Julian in terms of game paths as they don't see eye to eye anymore. It'll be tough to navigate around their differences, but hopefully it won't split up their duo for good. She still wants to play this game with him. Rachel and Roland continue attempting the fire at camp, but make little to no progress. Rachel wipes the sweat off his forehead, telling Roland they should take a 10-minute break. Betty then jokes that not even the alpha men can make a simple fire, and Rachel stares at her without any laughter. Betty tells him she's just kidding, but Rachel says it's not appropriate to mess with them when they are the ones working their asses off while she's doing nothing helpful. Betty tells him to chill, but Rachel tells her she needs to seriously grow up because she's 25, acting foolish. Betty tells him to chill out once again, comparing his attitude to Annalise's. In confessional, Betty says she doesn't understand why people like Rachel take this game so seriously. All she's doing is cracking jokes to bring the mood up. No need to be negative. In another confessional, Rachel sighs and says he can't wait until the day he can send Betty home. She's hard to live with. Later on, Daniela meets with Adam and Maria, and in confessional, Daniela says she wants to inform some of the Phoenixes of her merge idol before it gets exposed publicly. She already knows Jeannie is going to tell more people about it, so she may as well act loyal to the Phoenixes by sharing it with them. Daniela then tells the two that she found the merge idol last night, and both Adam and Maria congratulate her. She then tells them that Jeannie also knows because she ran into her in the middle of digging. Adam tells her not to worry because he can ensure Jeannie keeps its secret safe. She's on their side, presumably. Daniela doesn't know how to feel about her though, since the snakes might actually stick together, but Adam assures her he's very close with Jeannie. In confessional, Adam says he feels really solid with his Phoenix alliance, as well as Jeannie and Rachel. This could be a strong force that goes against Alec and Betty's side. In fact, he feels like Jeannie and Rachel could be part of his endgame plans because they don't seem like disloyal players. Daniela then tells Maria and Adam she'd like to vote out Shelby before any snakes because she's a huge problem for them. She actively flipped on the Phoenix's last tribal council, so she's like a cancer for them. Adam admits he was hoping they could vote out Betty first since she's a difficult presence around here, but either way, they can group up with the other alliance members and figure out the consensus target. It's day 19, and everyone arrives to the challenge mat where Justin awaits them. Justin says good morning, asking the tribe if they figured out a name for themselves. Shelby then says they are calling themselves the Ravagers tribe because they have been causing a lot of chaos this season up to this point. Justin smiles and says he likes the name, and then he proceeds with the first merge immunity challenge of the season. For today's challenge, everyone will have their arms points outwards and they will need to push up a cushion with both hands against the two walls. If at any point a cushion falls off, that person will be eliminated. The last player standing will win immunity, safe from the vote. Whoever is voted out tonight will not be on the jury and will only be known as the 10th person eliminated from Survivor China. Everyone is now in position with a cushion against both hands, and the challenge is now on. Everyone starts off solid, nobody struggling as of yet. Shelby then tells Justin she does this as a workout every week, so she's winning this. Justin laughs and says he likes her confidence. Steph then suddenly drops out first, eliminated from the challenge. Jeannie falls out 30 seconds later, and Julian is right behind. It's down to 10 players, and many people's arms are starting to shake. Daniela starts to sweat due to the amount of pain she's in, but she keeps holding on. One of Rachel's cushions then fall, meaning he's out of the challenge. One of Alec's cushions also falls off without warning, so he too is out. Another few minutes pass, and Shelby drops, followed by Daniela who cannot hold the cushions any longer. We're now down to 6 people in this challenge. Hannah, Betty, Garth, Maria, Adam, and Roland. A fly buzzes around Maria's face, but she tries her best to ignore it. One of Roland's cushions almost slips off, but he manages to save it. Justin then tells everyone they have been in this challenge for 15 minutes now. Hannah, Garth, Maria, and Adam haven't moved an inch in a while. Roland and Betty's arms have been shaking continuously for the last 5 minutes. In a sudden turn of events though, Adam drops his cushions, meaning he's out of the challenge. Only 5 remain, which then turns to 4 as Roland finally gives in. Betty also gives up, meaning it's only down to Garth, Hannah, and Maria, all fighting for that individual immunity necklace. Another 10 minutes pass by, and all 3 remain very solid. Hannah then asks out loud to Shelby if she would have been able to hold her cushions for this long, but Shelby rolls her eyes and refuses to respond. Then, one of Hannah's cushions suddenly slips off, and Shelby laughs out loud. Hannah curses out loud and sits on the ground, leaving Maria and Garth in the challenge. Maria then asks Garth if he's willing to strike a deal with her so she can get the necklace, but Garth tells her this isn't Big Brother. Many people giggle at that response, and Maria accidentally drops a cushion, meaning Garth has won immunity. Maria immediately gets upset, and Daniela hugs her, telling her she did well. Back on the mat, Justin congratulates Garth on his win, inviting him up for the necklace. He puts it around Garth's neck and claims he won't be going anywhere tonight. As for the rest, someone will be the 10th person eliminated from Survivor China. Everyone is then sent back to camp, and in confessional, Garth says he's super glad he won immunity today because it gives him a lot more power with the vote. He can campaign for the person he wants out without worry of being sent home himself. This is his chance to pull a reset on his game. His pre-merge game wasn't great, so now is the time to play this game like his entire life is on the line. Back at the Ravagers camp, everyone arrives from the challenge, and in confessional, Steph says that there's still no fire for the tribe, and clearly nobody cares about that because the camp started to free up from everyone going to an immediate scramble for the upcoming vote. You could have sneezed and everyone would be gone. Away from camp, Daniela, Adam, Hannah, Maria, and Roland are grouped up, and Maria says she feels like they should vote out Betty tonight. Not only is she an easy vote, but she pisses people off and she wouldn't have to be on the jury. Roland says he's fully on board to boot Betty before jury, but Daniela tells them they shouldn't be looking at Betty as their biggest threat. Sure, they don't have to go for the big players right away, but they should go for the people who might actually have a major impact on the season. She's talking about Shelby. In confessional, Daniela says she would like the Phoenix Alliance to vote for Shelby tonight. It's not just a revenge vote, but Shelby is a dangerous player. She has flown under the radar up until Merge, where she finally showed how strategic she is. For that reason, she needs to go. Of course though, Maria and Roland don't want to vote for Shelby, probably because they have a good relationship with her. Adam then tells the group he personally would like to see Shelby go because she has all of their tribe's secrets. If they blindside her tonight, maybe the opposing side won't know how close the Phoenixes are. Maria says that Shelby probably already told the likes of Alec and Betty that they are close, so it really doesn't matter. At least they have a chance to flip Shelby back on their side. In confessional, Maria says she needs to keep Shelby around as a number. Shelby is like her mother figure right now. She will take care of her as long as she is respected. That's how Shelby functions. It's unfortunate that Daniela still has a grudge against Shelby because of the David vote off, but she'll need to get over it and realize that Shelby isn't their biggest threat right now. Meanwhile, Steph, Alec, Garth, Julian, and Jeannie talk together, and Garth tells the group he feels like Shelby is a solid swing vote for their side. In that case, they all know Shelby has a bit of beef with Daniela after tribe swap, so maybe they should go for Daniela tonight. Jeannie immediately shuts that plan down, telling them that Daniela has the hidden merge idol. She found it last night. Alec then says he agrees with Jeannie in that case, and they should instead target someone else. Steph then suggests they vote for someone who won't get that idol played on them. Maybe Ritual is their safest vote. Julian says he doesn't see why not. Nobody really trusts Ritual within this alliance. In confessional, Alex says he's pretty chill voting for Ritual tonight because there isn't much he can do for the alliance. He's actually most likely going to work with Adam and Hannah for this vote, and those two are on the opposite side of the tribe. Steph then asks Jeannie if she's cool with voting for Rachel, and Jeannie sighs and says she'll do it. Garth then asks her why she seems hesitant to vote him, and she says she's not hesitant. She's just a bit shocked that they are voting for an original Snake member. In confessional, Jeannie admits it's frightening how quickly the Snakes turned on Annalise and now Rachel. This was supposed to be a strong unit moving forward. Though, she herself also flipped on the Snakes a few rounds ago, so maybe she sounds hypocritical even thinking this. But hey, she's just a self-interested girl. Betty later chats with Adam, asking him if they are good, and he says yes. She then asks if Hannah still doesn't like her, and Adam makes a confused face. He asks her how he's supposed to know, and Betty says she just wants to know if there have been any conversations between them two about hating Betty or wanting Betty to go home. Adam then says no, and in confessional, Adam laughs to himself because of how unique of a person Betty is. He hasn't met anyone so delusional before, and it's a bit irritating quite honestly. No wonder people want her gone. But regardless, he just has to play up to her expectations so she doesn't distrust him. You can't win Survivor if you don't fake most of the relationships out here. Betty then asks Adam who the vote is tonight, and Adam says he really doesn't know, so if she came to chat with him to figure out the vote, maybe she should suggest a name. Betty sighs and says she wants to hear out everyone else before she makes a decision. She thanks him for the chat and walks off, and Adam stands in shock, unable to comprehend what the point of the conversation even was. Maria talks with Shelby, asking her how she's doing, and Shelby says she's just chilling. She doesn't really know what's going on with the Phoenixes tonight. Maria then tells her that they are voting Betty tonight, so she can come along if she wants. In confessional, Maria says she doesn't want to alert Shelby about Daniela and Adam's wishes for tonight's vote. So instead, she'll tell Shelby to vote Betty, and maybe it'll be enough to see her go home. Shelby then tells Maria that she's glad she approached her with a name. She's going to vote Betty in that case. Maria smiles and says she'll always trust her. They are their own little mom and daughter duo in a way. Shelby laughs and calls her a gem, and she says she really does respect her game out here. She wants to play with her until the very end. Maria smiles and says the same. Alec then comes by, asking what's up, and Shelby says they are just having the usual personal chat. Alec then asks if he can talk with Shelby for a moment, and Maria says sure and heads out. In confessional, Alec says he wants to approach Shelby with the vote tonight because there's some real potential between the two of them. He feels like Shelby has potential to be a strong player and ally, so he wants to have her by his side. Alec then tells Shelby that he heard Rachel's name for tonight, and Shelby says she's cool to vote for him. She doesn't know who he is. He seems like furniture to her. Alec laughs and says there isn't much to Rachel's game, so she might be correct. Shelby then lets Alec know the other side is doing Betty tonight. Maria just informed her. Alec says it's better if it's Betty than himself, but it's good to know who they are voting for in case anything goes wrong tonight. In confessional, Shelby says she feels like a celebrity that just keeps attracting the paparazzi. Everyone wants her number, and she's just soaking it all in. She loves playing the middle. Hannah and Jeannie chat, and Hannah informs Jeannie that the vote is Shelby tonight. Jeannie then tells her that the Snakes want to vote out Rachel, surprisingly. Hannah nods and says they will need to get Rachel on board in that case, so he's an extra number to take out Shelby. In confessional, Jeannie says she's fully on board to flip on the Snakes. She doesn't have loyalty to them anymore. Ever since she tried to vote Alec out, the trust has been broken. She's fully committed to Hannah and Adam now. Before Tribal Council, Maria and Roland chat alone, and Maria says she doesn't know what to do tonight. Roland asks her what her gut is telling her, and Maria says she feels like they need to side with the Phoenixes. Maybe it's safer since they don't really know the Snakes that well. They only really have a connection with Julian. Shelby then comes by, telling the two that she was just told that Rachel is getting the votes from Alec's side. Maybe this is their opportunity to make a move and take him out. Nobody really knows him anyway. Roland sighs and says he just doesn't like the sound of it because it'll show Adam and Hannah that all three of them are flippers. Shelby says she's personally thinking it's time to vote with the snakes. The Phoenix Strong idea isn't a thing anymore. It's dead. In confessional, Roland says he doesn't feel too great about Shelby's gameplay right now. She's proven time and time again that she's a wild card. You may think she's on one side, but she's actually on the other. It gets to a point where he doesn't know if he can keep her around anymore. Maybe tonight is the night to take her out. The toughest part is convincing Maria. She's very close to Shelby right now, so he needs to find a way to crack that glue keeping them together. It's night 19, and the Ravagers arrive to Tribal Council and sit down. Justin welcomes them to their first merged Tribal Council, and he also congratulates Garth on winning immunity today. Garth nods and says he never thought he would win the necklace, but here he is. Justin then asks Maria if losing today's challenge felt defeating, considering she was the last one up there with Garth, and Maria says she's over the loss. You can't win everything. Plus, there are 12 people vulnerable tonight, so the odds of going home are very low at the moment. Justin then asks Alec if anyone knows where the votes will fall tonight, or if it's more of a mystery for most people, and Alec says he doesn't know for sure how informed people are on tonight's potential vote count. If anything, the best way to view this merge is that the snakes are mainly on one side, while the phoenixes are mainly on the other. It's two sides clashing tonight, and everyone knows it. Justin then asks Hannah if she knows why Alec said the snakes are mainly together, and same for the phoenixes. Hannah says she didn't expect Alec to use the word, mainly. She thought all the snakes were together. Alec says he wouldn't say so. In fact, he knows someone like Shelby has gotten heat from the phoenixes. Shelby says it's news to her, so that's fascinating to hear now. Alec says it's true. Justin then asks Alec where he heard Shelby's name, and Alec says he heard it from a source that he will not disclose publicly. Justin asks Daniela if that's a concern for the phoenixes now, and Daniela says it's a bit scary that rumors are being spread within the phoenix grouping. However, she can say the same about the snakes. They aren't this tight group either. Alec says he never said they were. In fact, he knows one or two snakes aren't staying strong tonight. Justin then asks Betty if she knows who those snakes might be, and Betty says she truthfully doesn't know what's going on tonight. All she knows is that she might be getting the votes tonight, at least from the phoenixes. Adam rolls his eyes and Hannah asks her why. Betty smiles and says she's actually not surprised Hannah spoke up when she said that. Hannah was one of the people she felt like wanted her out. Hannah tells Betty not to put words in her mouth because that was never said. Secondly, she needs to learn what self-awareness is because she's currently lacking in that department. Betty asks her why she's using personal attacks all of a sudden, and Hannah tells her she's only speaking the truth. She should fix her behavior because it's getting out of hand. Betty then shakes her head and turns back to Justin, telling him she keeps facing a lot of challenges in this game and even real life. People keep undermining her and it's sad. She's not dumb or ditzy. She's a smart woman. Justin then asks Jeannie if anybody here might know how the result of this tribal council will go, and Jeannie says she has no idea. There are too many people here to have any certainty of what will go down. Plus, this is only their first merged tribal council. Relationships and trust will be tested in this vote. Maria agrees and says it's important to be on the right side of the vote tonight. Next time they come back here, the dominant alliance will win once again. That's just how these merges go. Justin asks Shelby if she thinks tonight's vote will be extremely close or not, and Shelby says she would be surprised if there isn't a one-vote difference in the result. Like Alec claimed earlier, the snakes and phoenixes have a bit of a battle to gain control over the game. This vote will solidify who truly has the power moving forward. Justin then says that it's a perfect time to get to the vote, so everyone prepares.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Steph is deciding to use her hidden immunity idol tonight, which comes in the form of a special bracelet. This idol indeed is active since she has worn it ever since she found it. She is using her idol on Alec. Any votes for Alec won't count tonight. I'll read the votes. First vote, Betty. Betty. That's 2 votes, Betty. Shelby. Rachel. That's 2 votes, Betty. 1 vote, Shelby. 1 vote, Rachel. Shelby. Rachel. 2 votes, Betty. 2 votes, Shelby. 2 votes, Rachel. Rachel. That's 3 votes, Rachel. Rachel. 4 votes, Rachel. 2 votes, Shelby. 2 votes, Betty. Shelby. 3 votes, Shelby. Shelby. We're tied. 4 votes, Rachel. 4 votes, Shelby. 2 votes, Betty. Rachel. That's 5 votes, Rachel. 4 votes, Shelby. 2 votes, Betty. Shelby. Tied again. 5 votes, Shelby. 5 votes, Rachel. 2 votes, Betty. 1 vote left. 10th person voted out of Survivor China. Rachel.
A bunch of people cheer and clap after the result, and meanwhile, most of the phoenixes are in shock and disappointment. Jeannie looks down at the ground, and Daniela asks the people around her if anyone flipped, but nobody says anything. Shelby then thanks Daniela out loud for her attempt to take her out, but she will need to try a 3rd time. Daniela rolls her eyes and Alex smiles at the group of phoenixes. Rachel meanwhile puts his torch down next to Justin, and Justin snuffs his torch. He then says goodbye to everyone and makes his way out, and Julian welcomes Shelby to the alliance. Shelby laughs and says she can't wait to have a meeting with the snakes after this. Alec tells her she's more than welcome to be their VIP alliance member. Justin then turns to the rest and tells them that they are not only getting a Flint right now, he's also happy to announce that the jury phase has begun, so anyone voted out from here on out will be on the jury. Everyone is surprised, and Justin throws the Flint in their direction. He then tells the tribe to make their way back to camp, so they all start heading out. Next time on Survivor China. After a divided first merge vote, the alliance built of majority Phoenixes start to worry about their future. Daniela continues to feel iffy about Maria as someone who is actively playing both sides. On the other side of the tribe, Alec has his new worry, and that's Jeannie. Will Julian be able to keep Jeannie safe, or will Alec make a wild move to help his own game out? A lot is bound to happen, so stay tuned for the next episode. Richel's final thoughts. Richel is quite impressed by the snakes because he had no idea he was getting voted out by them. He's unsure why they chose him of all people, but everything happens for a reason. He feels like it's perhaps because he flipped on them and wanted to side with Adam and Hannah's side. If so, it's reasonable to take him out. All in all, he got taken out in a very exciting vote, so at least he has that going for him. He won't look back at this vote and feel negatively about it.